Welcome back to the channel. This week I've been driving this 2026 Genesis GV70. I've got it in the sport trim, all the bells and whistles attached. It comes to us in 2026, slightly refreshed, reworked front end, reworked rear end, some nice changes on the interior, and I mean now I think more than ever it can compete with its German counterparts. It does some things a lot better than them, and some things it has a little bit of catching up to do on. I'm going to show you absolutely everything there is to know about this vehicle, interior, exterior, and of course a POV drive. Let me pick up the camera. Let's get into it. All right, so starting off with the front end in the new redesigned Genesis GV70, you can see we have slightly different headlights there, and we also have a brand new grille. It looks a little more sleeker, a little bit more refined. I do tend to like it a little bit more. I like the different pattern we have going on. Of course, I have a front-facing camera, and also I've got parking sensors. The engine is on. It's really hot out. I left the vehicle running, and I really like this paint color. It looks fantastic on here. It's like a matte color. Very, very well done by Genesis there. We've got a slightly redesigned emblem there as well, which looks really cool. And yeah, overall, the front end just looks better overall. Like, I really do like. It's a slight refresh. Again, without really looking at them back to back or side by side, you're not going to really be able to tell the difference. But I'll tell you, just looking at it in person, it does look a little better. So under the hood for our Genesis GV70, we have a twin turbo V6 engine capable of producing 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. I don't think that this engine is being pushed to its absolute limits. I do feel like there is more in the tank, but Genesis are trying to play it safe and knows that probably it's the people that are buying this vehicle are not looking at it to absolutely rip their neck out. We also get an 8-speed automatic transmission. We get a multi-link front and rear suspension, which is very cool. Of course, it's all-wheel drive. And like I said, it's the sport trim. I've got the suede inserts and absolutely every feature that you could want here on this Genesis GV70. But it is going to cost you, of course, $85,700 for the one that you're seeing in this video. Not a terrible price point, but again, pretty pricey. But I guess if you're in the market for a Genesis, you kind of know what to expect anyways. So next, onto the side profile for our Genesis GV70 here. Again, no really big changes here at all other than the rims. That's going to be the biggest one that's going to stand out here, is you kind of got like these new black tires here, and you've got these accents on the rims here as well as some nice Genesis brakes right there. I like the logo, looks very nice. It's keyless entry, of course. I do kind of like this chrome. It's like a bit of like a darker chrome almost, or it feels like it's a darker chrome, but it doesn't like shine in my face. It doesn't blind me or anything. It just looks really good, and it shows off the sides really well here on the side profile. I don't have any big complaints at all. It just looks like a nice ride. Next, quickly, we'll move on to the back, where it's a little bit of a reworked rear end as well. You can see, again, this is something you're going to have to look at them side by side. They did change the exhaust as well there, but really that's the biggest noticeable one. Oh, yes, and of course, the spoiler here as well, which should help things be more aerodynamic. I've got a camera right here for a digital rear view mirror, parking sensors back here, you name it, we've got it. I like the tail lights. They're pretty iconic at this point. You've seen them quite a bit of Genesis vehicles by now. They look really cool. I like how they wrap around the body, the Genesis GV70 logo there, and then the all-wheel drive 3.5T badge right there. Last but not least, let's open up the trunk. Of course, it's an automatic tailgate. At this price point, that's good to see. Got a ton of space back here. You can install like a privacy screen. There's a slight bit of storage underneath the floor, but not too much. It does have a spare tire under there. You can fold the seats down, have a ton of space, but this is honestly more than I need, and I could probably keep the seats folded up all the time. I don't think I'd ever really need more space than this, so this is very good. So that's gonna do it for my thoughts on the exterior of the Genesis GV70. Let me know what you think in the comments. You hate it, you like it? Can you really notice the changes that they've done on the exterior, or, you know, is it just another Genesis GV70 to you? I really want to know what you think. What do you think of the color and everything else in between? Let me know in the comments. And while you do that, let's check out the interior. All right, so up first, as usual, is the rear seat for the Genesis G70. Open the door, you can see we've got like this nice, like blue tinted interior, really nice, like this nice carbon fiber trim right there. We do have the privacy windows, but the window's nice and tinted as well. The Bang & Olufsen sound system with the yellow, or the orange stitching, actually it's orange, not yellow, and then we have some nice ambient lighting that continues. You can see on the inside we've got the orange seat belts mixed with the orange stitching, and then this suede insert. These seats are just top class and top quality, right? So let's actually hop in here. It's gonna be kind of a squeeze for me because I'm behind my driver profile, and well, in this little, sort of little SUV, I've got to sit pretty far back. But once I'm in, which was a little difficult to do because my seat was in the way, you can see I sit basically right next to the pillar here. And there is no ability for this passenger to move the seat up. There is ability for this one to move the seat up, though, because we have controls right here on the seat, which is a very good thing that the Hyundai and Genesis now do quite a lot of, especially in the top trim. So really good to see that, and it's extremely useful. Now we also have our own vents as well as our own HVAC control back here with heated seats, 2 USB-C ports, and a 150 watt outlet right there. So that's pretty good, or 115 volt outlet right there. So that's nice to have. Got a really good view of the sunroof here. It's also got like a tinted glass, so like it keeps some of the sun out if you want to have it open while the car is off. You got like a nice little hook for your suit, I guess, right here. A little bit of light control right there. It's all suede up here. All of like the nice touch, or the touch areas are all nice. This middle seat is obviously leather, but like the leather feels high quality. There's just so much high quality in here. This guy comes right down. My baby seat doesn't even get in the way. For those curious, baby seat fits in, no problem. Very easy. Does kind of compromise the front passenger space, but you know, it's not terrible. We do have just about enough space. You can see I could actually move this seat back a little more and could still get away with it. So still good. She seems to like to put her feet on the suede, so that's nice. And yeah, really no huge complaints with the back seat. Don't know if I do a road trip here, because if I want to sit like this, push my legs into the driver's seat a little bit, so the driver would have to move up slightly, but that's about it. So let's actually check out what's going on up front. All right, so this is next up for the Genesis GV70 is the front seat. Again, you can see we have the nice mix of like a black and then the blue suede with the carbon fiber. The seats, you can see we've got all power support as well as a subwoofer underneath, and we have the massage seats right here, and you can see the suede inserts go all the way up, really right there. Very nice. So once you're actually seated inside the Genesis GV70, you can see you've got a very nice steering wheel right here. It's a D-cut, so it's like if you don't like the D-cut, then maybe you won't like the feel. It is a little smaller, but it doesn't bother me. It actually feels really nice in the hand. Got paddle shifters as well, sort of physical buttons, or mostly physical buttons for the cruise control. And then, you know, you've kind of got like this, you can see there's a sensor there. The camera actually sees the sensor. It's like a BlackBerry, if you remember what those are. You can control different things about the gauge cluster and the infotainment screen kind of at the same time. Like if I do this, it'll control that part. If I swipe left or right, it'll switch the track and stuff like that. Got like this really high quality button, or like this wheel for the volume controls in here, which is very, very premium feeling. 2 sets of memory seat settings, and then we've got the illumination controls as well as the trunk button or hill descent button. The parking brake is there as well. You can see the nice ambient lighting continues all the way around here as well. Ambient lighting in the Genesis products are always really, really good, so the GV70 is not going to be much of an exception here. Next we'll move on to the digital gauge cluster. It's kind of a nice thing. You can kind of have it match the time of day. So right now I have it in dark mode, so that's why it constantly looks like just basically the sunset mode. But I have seen things where like if it's raining outside, it'll actually reflect that. And you can have a couple of different like widgets up, or like settings up if you want. So I can kind of scroll through them here. I can have this one where it's my map in the middle. I can have this one where I can actually pull the map up here, and it'll actually put all in one, which looks really, really cool. This looks like a really cool thing. And then you can have a widget right in the middle, and you can change that widget if you want. So I can have media. I could have the weather if you want. You can have the current trip stuff, powertrain, stuff like that. It really only works if you have the map up. So I guess like if you're on a road trip, you can kind of set that up to be that way, and then there you go. And it'll recenter itself based on what you do. So you can have themes like that. So the map one is really the cool one. And then I usually use this one right here with the media there. But you can also like click in the button and change the theme entirely, which looks pretty cool. And then you get a couple of different other options with kind of the classic gauges up. But I like the more modern ones. It looks pretty cool. And it'll also switch with my drive mode. So say right now I'm in comfort. That's what that looks like. Eco mode looks like that. Sport looks like this, and Sport Plus looks like lightsabers, which is really cool. And then you of course have the My mode, which is pretty much the comfort mode. I'm usually in comfort mode, so I don't really mind. But yeah, you can change the drive mode for the My mode too and stuff like that. Steering wheel is of course power adjustable, which is very nice. Digital infotainment display, so we like to see that as well. no big issues there. You got to spend some time with it because there is, as you can see, quite a bit of things. This is a luxury car, right? And usually that comes with quite a bit of services and different things to go over. Like I can leave myself a voice memo, I can do media, I can also, have the map, the phone projection, so wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, that's all there. 3D setup, this is the one that I would usually use if I don't know where something is, because you can kind of go around the vehicle and see what you want, or if it's something on the inside that you want, you can do see inside. It'll take you through that like this, and then you can choose the cluster, the climate, whatever it is. It kind of helps a little bit get to where you're going. But yeah, take some time, sit with this, see how you feel, and kind of learn where everything is. That's the best advice I can give you there. Just above this, we do have a digital camera as well. Speaking of cameras, we have a 360-degree camera, which is super high quality. You can see it gets the color pretty much right, and it just looks really, really good. And then also in the gauge cluster, we have the cameras for the left and the right turn signals. Now, a little bit lower from the gauge cluster, we have our start-stop button, physical button for the knob, the volume control, which feels premium. The tuning knob feels the same. These are like haptic buttons almost, but you can use them pretty well, pretty easily for, like you can see, I can even play the sounds of nature in here if I want. But you can click anything you need here, and it'll take you through it, like even setup. You can go straight to settings if you need to, which is really good. So like it's a bunch of quick access stuff, which I do appreciate. And then for the HVAC controls, it's like this touch button stuff that you're kind of used to seeing by now from Hyundai, and it's a tri-zone automatic climate control, so you can see I can control the rear stuff from here as well. It's got like a little tap on my finger whenever I do touch something, so I know that I've clicked it. Kind of feels like a physical button, so it's not too bad there. But yeah, if you don't like touch buttons, you're probably not going to like this, but honestly it's worked. It's never given me any problems, so it's always been fine, and I don't mind it. I kind of like what they've done with the carbon fiber here. It looks really nice. This is where you're going to change the drive mode, the auto start stop, the parking assist, or the 360-degree camera. You also have some buttons here for the quick access, and then we have like this little knob here that's going to enable me to control this without actually touching the screen, because you can see it's quite far. So you can still use the touch screen. It still is a touch screen like I showed you, but you can also use this while you're driving. It feels like a piece of jewelry. So does this. The gear selector really looks and feels like a piece of jewelry. You can see it's ambient lit and everything. Then we do have a wireless charger right there, a little bit of storage inside the center console, which also has the orange stitching as well. Same thing for the passenger seat here. It's also heated and ventilated. Got heated steering as well, just like my driver's seat, heated and ventilated. So nothing big to complain. All the standard features that you'd expect from a high-end luxury vehicle is definitely here in this GV70. So really, really nice. I love these suede inserts. I love the look of this interior. It just looks so good, so nice, so premium, and yeah, it definitely looks like it's worth the money. So yeah, a slight refresh in terms of interior stuff, but nothing too big, because the Genesis GV70 was already selling really well before that. So I mean, this interior just got better and better and better and better, and it's just a great place to spend time, a really easy thing to drive, and I just look cool doing it. I feel cool doing it, and I'm going to continue to do that. But I'm going to strap my GoPro to my forehead, and I'm going to show you how it drives on the road. Let's check it out. All right, on the road now with the 2026 Genesis GV70. What a good week it has been so far. We're almost at the end here and just kind of recording everything, because I feel like I've spent enough time with it now to kind of really have a good thought about it. And like, I spent time with the GV70 electrified, right? And that was a really great platform, really comfortable and stuff like that. But this Genesis GV70 is what you get if you're just completely anti-electricity. You just hate it, you don't want to drive it. This is what you get. I'm going to put it into Sport Plus mode here. Let's just go around the corner. So the Genesis GV70 has a twin-turbo V6 engine producing 375 horsepower. And this is what it's like when you slam on it. Let's go. Yeah, plenty of speed for an SUV in this size and in this class. I don't feel like Genesis was trying to break your neck or anything with this transmission and also with this engine, but definitely enough to to have a little bit of fun, but still pretty much stay out of trouble. Now in Sport Plus mode, you can see it looks like I've got like lightsabers in my gauge cluster, and it stiffens up the steering quite nicely. There's not a lot of body roll or anything like that. I like the throttle response. There's a little bit of pumped in audio there as well. Most of it is probably the speakers. It's not too much on the side of the engine, which is completely fine. I don't really mind pumped-in audio nowadays. Honestly, it's hard to avoid it, so might as well just accept it. I like the feel of the steering wheel. I just like the feeling of driving this vehicle overall. I will say though that, you know, it does a lot of things better, the Genesis GV70, than, you know, some of the German automotive brands, but where it does lack is in its drivetrain. For sure, this transmission is just not up to the level that the BMWs and Mercedes are in this class and in this price point. I feel like those guys have got something a little bit more engaging in terms of the driving. Usually I'm going to be in my mode, which I have the engine in Sport Plus, but I have everything else in comfort mode. But still, even with the engine in Sport Plus, like kind of slowing down, it can be jerky at times, you know, especially like when you're on and off the power and, you know, on and off the brakes and stuff. It can be like super jerky. It doesn't really know what to do sometimes, and I feel like it's gotten confused more than enough, especially if I'm in Sport Plus mode, like in traffic or something like that. It tends to get like, just doesn't know what to do, and it feels weird, and it takes away from it. And I just feel like when I drive a BMW and I put it in Sport Plus mode, if it has one, or even just Sport mode, the way that thing rips is just crazy. Like the way you feel the shift, it's just super aggressive. This is not so much like that, despite having as much horsepower and torque as those. It's just one of those things, like where I think design-wise, compared to something like the X3, the GV70 looks miles better, both interior and exterior. But driving-wise, I still feel like BMW probably has this thing beat. I think Genesis have a little bit more catching up to do in terms of like the driving dynamics, but I think they'll get there. I think, but at the same time, I don't think people are buying a Genesis GV70 or of any, you know, generation to rip and break your neck out and like turbo boost around town. I think you're just buying it because it's really comfortable. It's super luxurious. It does something different. Genesis is different than the German stuff and like the other automotive brands. They do something that's unique to them. And if you want to drive around in something that is different, that's still fast and still got plenty of luxury, well, then Genesis is still a really great option for that. Rip it again. Oh yeah, that felt better the second time around, actually. Yeah, it's still, don't get me wrong, like, this is a really fun car to drive still. It's still got its speed. It still earns the right to be in this weight class, to be competing with the big boys in its league. So like, you know, don't take anything away from this Genesis GV70. It's really comfortable. I've got the road preview. Like, let me tell you, I have driven it on Quebec roads my entire life, right? I've never really driven anywhere else day to day. You know, of course, from like the side road trips, little trips in the US, but like, you know, my commute to work and stuff has been on Quebec roads, so my spine looks like a racetrack from that. But, you know, driving cars like the Genesis GV70 and like, you know, really comfortable cars, it's definitely helped. I think it's made my spine probably more of an oval than like a road course, if that makes sense. Just a little bit straighter in some parts of it. So, yeah. The Genesis GV70 has this road preview feature, so it will kind of adjust the suspension on the fly, and it just make sure that nothing gets to the driver, right? Like, not a lot of the big bumps get to my steering wheel or my body through the seat, so that's good as well. And you'll notice how quiet it is. This does have active noise cancellation. They've put a lot of emphasis into, you know, the sound isolation and just making sure that as soon as you close the door, it's you and the vehicle. You're cut off from the outside world. Makes the sound system sound a lot better as well. So that's really nice, just to have a quiet experience. When you're in a luxury vehicle, you don't want to hear the road noise, you don't want to hear the wind, you want to hear whatever music or sounds you put on, podcasts, whatever it is, that's what you want to hear. Or if you're on the phone especially, you don't want the person on the phone to hear a bunch of like wind noise and garbage, because you know, maybe you're doing meetings on the fly and stuff like that. So you just want a seamless, clean experience, and I think the noise canceling in here really gives you that. I like the turn signals in the gauge cluster there. It's a nice high-end thing that Hyundai do, and now Genesis does as well, so no complaints there. Visibility is really good. Digital rear-view camera, 360-degree camera. But without those things, the mirror visibility is good. I don't really have too much of a blind spot either. It's it's just a very easy vehicle to drive. It's very luxurious, yes, but also very easy. Like, I'm not fiddling with this menu. I know where things are now by this point in the week. Spending a week with it's pretty easy to get it. Drive mode's easy to understand. It's very, there's a lot of things going on in here in terms of infotainment. It's got this one-piece screen here. There is some things you're gonna have to spend some time with, sure, but you're still going to like it, and you're still going to get used to it fairly quickly, which is good news. So overall, for the driving impressions of the Genesis GV70, the pros are that it is fast, it is luxurious, the interior design is really good, the exterior design is really, really good. I guess the main con is that it still has some catching up to do to, get to the level that BMW's at in terms of engaging driving dynamics. Again, that only matters if that's something that matters to you. It is kind of something that matters to me when I look at buying a vehicle. If I want something that's engaged, when I put it in sport mode, I want it to feel alive. I want it to almost shift personalities, and I don't feel like the Genesis GV70 definitely does that in a straight line, but on twisty roads when I'm really trying to hammer it, doesn't really give me that. Whereas BMW gives me the theater and the show. Same thing, Mercedes does it too. They both give you a certain amount of theater and aggressiveness that you're looking for. But not everybody's looking for that. And that's the thing. That's where things come down to preference, right? You kind of can't have everything in one basket. BMW and Mercedes have all touch controls for everything, and that's not really great all the time. The Genesis GV70 doesn't have that. You have, haptic feedback. It's sort of touch controls, but at least it has its own dedicated thing for it. So there's a duality, right? And you really have to, when you're buying these cars, if you're serious about it, you really have to sit down and figure out what exactly it is that you want and what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not. That's going to be the main decider there. But if you do decide to go with the Genesis GV70, you will absolutely not be disappointed. I think it's in a great price point. I think it's really competitive. It's all-wheel drive. It doesn't have a hybrid nothing, electric nothing. If you don't want electric anything, this is the one to go with, and you'll be happy if you do. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe. If you want to see more videos just like this on the channel, if you want to see more Genesis, more Hyundai or high-end Hyundai stuff, let me know what you want to see me drive, and I'll do my best to get my hands on it. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.